Leaving the bus, please remember to take all your belongings with you, including the dog.
Well, good morning all, and here we are, finally, in Whitby. Over there is Whitby Abbey, Tales of Dracula. I'll expand on that later. Looks like the sun's going to come out today. Nice little setup we've got. There's Skybot having a little wander around. Plenty of open fields behind us to take the dogs exercising. Not a bad sight, but it has rave reviews, and to be honest with you, I'm struggling a bit as to why. It's okay. Been better, been worse. There we go, part 2. Loopy's out and about. Oh look, she's off running. It's only 6:30. She's off running. Don't know why. Sky's doing a disappearing act, so best drag her back in. Sky! Oi! Come here! Sky! Nice that they can have a little bit of freedom, even if Sky does like to be a little bugger about it. And Lucy as well, for that matter, she's wandered off. So anyway, I'm going to drag these two back inside, get me breakfast, get a coffee, and then yeah, have a bit of a chill out this morning, and then we'll be off to Whitby later on, and I'll get some filming done there. So I'll see you in about a second.
It didn't give enough clearance for many of the larger steel ships being built upriver in the late 19th century. The bridge is electrically operated and opens for shipping on the hour and half hour on request, from about 2 hours before high water to about 2 hours after high water. The imminent closing of the bridge is signalled to pedestrians by the ringing of a handbell. To the right of the swing bridge across the river in Great Lane, the tall building you can see has the largest. On the right over the swing bridge you can see the Dolphin Hotel, which was rebuilt in 1912 and is named after the steel pillars on the bridge. It was originally known as the Custom House and was the home of the press gangs who used to lurk in the cellar to plot the kidnapping of unsuspecting innocents before taking them out to life at sea. Now on St Anne's Staith. Staith is the Norse word for harbour. St Anne's Line, which runs between St Anne's Staith and the end of Flowergate, was formerly called Hell's Lane, probably because of its steepness. On the other side of the river, over to the right, is Whitby's railway station. And if nobody is in trouble out at sea, you'll be able to see the orange lifeboat formed just beneath it. Here Road was originally built about 1875 over the sandy banks of the river. Prior to this time, the crag was the only way from the town to the shore. The new buildings to the left are in fact new frontages, built after that time onto the backs of the riverside buildings, which originally faced onto the crag. Coming up on the left, the award-winning Quayside Restaurant was once a public bathhouse, museum and a library. In the late 1890s, it said Bram Stoker carried out research for his Gothic novel Dracula in the first floor library. Ahead on the left, the building with the large bay windows is the popular Magpie Cafe. Built in 1750 as a merchant's house, it was later used as a pilot's office. The pilot had an excellent view of any activity in the harbour and on the River Esk. Ahead on the left is the Lifeboat Museum, in a building which served as a double boathouse for R&MI between 1895 and 1957. The museum now houses the last known lifeboat used in the British Islands, the Robert and Ellen Robson. This was used in many rescues. We will soon be reaching our next stop when we take a short break. You can find the beach, the pier and the lighthouse. Or alternatively, you can stay on the bus and enjoy the rest of the tour. If you're leaving us at this stop, please remember to take all your belongings with you, including any children. Whitby has the only natural hub along the 100 miles of coastline between the Tees and the Humber, and has essentially been known as a place for refuge for mariners. The beach between Tate Hill Pier and East Pier is also known as Collier's Home, as it was thought that if any storm-tossed ship would reach that, should be safe. The scene in Dracula, in which the Russian vessel Demeter runs aground on Collier's Home with its captain dead and tied to the wheel, is based on a real-life incident. A Russian vessel, the Demeter, did run aground on Collier's Home. However, its captain was not dead. He was drunk. If you follow the road past the quarterdeck cafe, you'll find yourself on Battery Parade. As the name suggests, it was where several defence cannons stood in the early 18th century. The round white buildings were powder magazines, which held the gunpowder for the cannons. And were also used as customs lookouts to control revenue collection and smuggling. As we set off, we'll go up the exotically named Khyber Pass, a road forged into the cliffside in 1848 by the railway king George Hudson. Following the decline of the whaling industry in the early 1800s, Hudson planned to revitalise Whitby as a seaside resort. He began by buying up all the land on the West Cliff. He began to build hotels, including the Royal. The Khyber Pass was used to transport the building materials, which had arrived by sea all the way up to Westcliff. When the building work was finished, it provided a good route down to the town for the holidaymakers staying at the hotels above. Coming up on the left is the only house on the Khyber Pass, called Strensham, which is what Whitby was called from AD 657 until the Vikings arrived in AD 867 and renamed the settlement Whitby from the Old Norse for White Settlement. On the left, the yellow building is the La Rosa Hotel, which has a blue plaque saying that Lewis Carroll, the author of Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass, stayed there occasionally. It was while on the beach in Whitby that Lewis Carroll wrote the famous poem, The Walrus and the Carpenter. Welcome along to those of you who have just joined us. On our trip today, I'll share with you some tales of Whitby's past and some characters and substance of the town. Just ahead on the right is the Whitby Pavilion, built in 1870, where you can see the latest films as well as enjoy live theatre productions. It's also for conferences and special occasions such as weddings. To the left is Whitby's Royal Crescent. It should have been a half-circle of Georgian-style dwellings to rival Bath. But unfortunately, George Hudson, the railway king who was building it, was not a completely honest man. His business dealings were investigated, which forced him into hiding. The Crescent was never completed and still stands today with only half its property built. 6. The left-hand side is where Bram Stoker and his first holiday in Whitby in 1890. To the right, the cliff lift will take you with ease down the 120-foot cliff to the beach. At low tide, you can walk all the way along the beach from Whitby's West Pier to Sunset. It's a distance of just under 3 miles there and back. Our next stop is for the boating lake, mini golf, skate park, leisure centre and the cliff lift to the beach. When leaving the bus, please remember to take all your belongings with you, including grandma. The cliffs ahead are the Kettleness Cliffs, which between 1727 and 1871 used to be mined for their alum. Alum is a red mineral which was used in the tanning industry for dyeing leather. On your right, as we turn into Argyle Road, you'll see a large building which was formerly the Metropole Hotel. When it was built in 1898, it was the first iron-framed building in Whitby, and the first in the town to have electricity. Although it's since been converted into luxury flats, the original Victorian ballroom has been preserved. Looking down Lady Smith Avenue on the right is the Saxonville Hotel, home for about 6 years to the writer Margaret Storm Jameson. At the far end, you'll see the grandstand of Whitby Town Football Club, also known as the Seasides. Just before we turn left in the roundabout, take a look straight ahead down Station Avenue. At the end, you'll see a low red brick building which was once Westcliff Station. The last trains ran along the line from Middlesbrough to Scarborough in May 1958. The buildings are now used as private housing. Ahead on the right are 2 3-story houses. A long bottle-shaped window in each house manages to give light to 3 floors, yet remaining 1 window. In 1796, the government of William Pitt brought out a tax on the number of windows you could have, showing that stealth taxes are no new thing. People who couldn't afford to pay the tax, or those who preferred not to, tended to brick their windows on. There were, however, ways of getting round the tax, as demonstrated by these 2 houses. The next stop is for Panet Park, where you can alight for the excellent children's playground, the Panet Art Gallery, Whitby Museum and the Leisure Centre. When leaving the bus, please remember to take all your belongings with you, including the dog. The tower was demolished to the ground floor in 1923, and the remaining mill building is now luxury apartments. As we go round the roundabout, we'll travel down Chubb Hill Road, built in 1886, and on the left is Panet Park. Panet Park is named after Robert Elliott Panet, a solicitor who served the town as a councillor, alderman and justice of the peace, as well as supporting many charities. He bought Chubb Hill Estate, which was then Market Gardens, and arranged in his will for it to become the public park it is today. He also left provision for a building to be erected there to house his collection of art. Coming up on the left, look out for Whitby's floral clock, originally installed in 1953 to mark the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. After a while, it became a normal flower bed, but in 2006, the Friends of Panet Park raised enough money to have the clock reinstated. On the corner to your right is Arundel House Hotel. This was owned by many generations of the shipbuilding family, the Campions. Sailmaking and rope making were essential industries within the shipbuilding trade in the 1800s. On the left-hand side of Arundel House, there's a little road leading to a tunnel, which is an area once known for its sailmaking. We're now heading up Prospect Hill. Please be aware of the low branches if you're sitting upstairs. The original owners of the large houses on the right would have enjoyed an excellent view or prospect of Whitby. In the last garden on the right before the junction stands a Chilean pine tree, or commonly known as a monkey muzzle. The mineral jet comes from the fossilized remains of the tree. Jet, once the center of a big industry in Whitby in the 19th century, can be found along the coast near to Whitby. Turning left into an area called Gallows Close, an area once used as a place of public execution. The bodies of the condemned would not be taken down in a hurry, in the hope that the sight of their fate would deter other potential criminals. Coming up on the left, the white building is Whitehall, the old residence of the Temple shipyard family. The Temples look from their front window to the shipyard below. During the Second World War, the house became a school until it was shut in 1985. We're about to cross Spittal Bridge, built in the 1930s. The original bridge is on the left. It was named after a leper isolation hospital which stood nearby in 1109 to 1539. This point is thought to have been the first landing place of the Saxons who settled here. During World War II, the bridge's arches were used as air raid shelters. We're now commencing the steep climb up Green Lane. Please be aware of low branches if you're sitting upstairs. Green Lane was known locally at one time as Hurst Road or Corpse Road. It was the route taken by the rich to get to the church graveyard or strong carriages. The Tour de Yorkshire cycle was also passed along this route. Whitby Regatta is one of the oldest city theatres in the country. It's been entertaining crowds for over 170 years. Regatta Weekend runs annually in August and includes yacht racing, rowing races, street stalls and entertainment. Whitby Golf Weekend, started in 1994, has grown into one of the world's premier golf events and brings thousands of people to the town in April and October. The main music events and trade stalls take place in the Whitby Spa Pavilion. Whitby Abbey, first founded by King Oswy of Northumbria in AD 657, men and women. It was here in AD 664 that a meeting took place between the synod and opposing parties. At the meeting, many religious decisions were made, including the fixing of the date of Easter. In about AD 867, the abbey was ransacked and almost completely destroyed by Vikings. It wasn't until around 1070 that the Normans re-established a monastic community here. The remains that you can see mostly date from a later building, erected in about 1220. Like most monastic establishments in the country, Whitby Abbey was dissolved by Henry VIII in 1539. It then passed into the hands of the Cholmondeley family, and gradually fell into disrepair, battered by the weather over the centuries, and even suffering direct hits from the German Navy in the First World War. Since 1984, the Abbey has been in the care of English Heritage. Abbey House, the large building to the left of the Abbey, was built by the Cholmondeley family using stones from the Abbey. It is now the home of Whitby Youth Hostel. A tea room is run behind the nearby Abbey Visitor Centre, which houses an interactive exhibition. Audio guides are available. Please alight here for the Abbey Ruins and Visitor Centre, St Mary's Church and the Youth Hostel. Please remember to take all your belongings with you.